Hello friends, and welcome to another episode of Team Jesus Outdoors. Hey guys, I hope you and your family had a great Thanksgiving, and I hope you've got a great Christmas in store for you. Guys, today I just want to talk to you about fall trolling. It's December, it's early December. We've still probably got a couple weeks left of trolling on St. Clair, Lake Erie. I just want to share with you guys a few tips that I think will really help your fall trolling, especially on Lake St. Clair and Lake Erie. Hey guys, when we're trolling in the fall, most of you know, most guys are using deep diving crankbaits. And there is no denying that deep diving crankbaits are the ticket to take fall walleye, especially late fall walleye. The later in the fall you get, the more exclusively you can run crankbaits. So guys, a lot of us are fishing water that's pretty shallow. If we're on Saginaw Bay, if we're on Lake St. Clair, if we're on the western basin of Lake Erie, a lot of us spend most of our time fishing water that's 25 foot deep or less. So when you're fishing water that's no deeper than 25 feet, well, you can get away with just long lining crankbaits. There's really not a whole lot of trolling gear that you really need other than your line counter reels and your trolling rods and a box full of hard crankbaits. But guys, when we push a little bit deeper out into the western basin of Lake Erie, or we get over in Ohio near the central basin or further east, depth becomes a little bit more challenging. If you want to run a bandit down in 22, 23 feet of water because you're fishing over 40 feet of water, then you're probably going to wind up running some inline weights with your bandits and running the 50+2 method. And that works great when we're talking about deep running crankbaits, deep running bandits, deep running reapers, deep running husky jerks. But guys, sometimes the fish want a little different profile. Sometimes the fish want a smaller profile bait or a bait with a different sound profile. And that's when I love to run stuff like shallow running bombers or shallow running husky jerks or shallow running rapalas. And in order to get your shallow running rapalas down to 15, 20, 25, 30 feet of water, you're going to have to employ a method to get your crankbait down that deep. Most of us are familiar with dipsy divers, and dipsy divers can be an excellent way of getting your crankbaits down deep. I really like offshore tadpoles. This is a great method to get your crankbaits down deep. But probably my favorite method of getting my crankbaits down deep when I'm fishing Ohio waters of the western basin or I'm fishing the central basin of Lake Erie, probably my favorite method for those situations is lead core line. I never ever go to Huron, Ohio without taking a couple of 3-color lead core lines. Now you could probably make the argument that you could take 2 colors, 3 colors, 4 colors, maybe even 5 colors. I just personally know I have enough experience with 3 colors of lead that I know I can get a P10, Smithwick P10, perfect 10. I can get a P10 down to about 20 feet on 3 colors of lead. 18, 19, 20, somewhere right in that neighborhood. And that is just always, when I'm in Ohio waters, that is always a depth I'm trying to target. You've almost always got walleye between 20 and 30 feet of water, regardless of how deep you're fishing. And it's just always a depth that I want to get a crankbait into. So I almost never go to the Ohio waters of Lake Erie without a couple of reels spooled with 3 colors of lead. I like running lead core because you can put it on your planer boards, especially 3 colors of lead. You can put it on your standard planer board with no issues. You don't have to go to a bigger or heavier board. On a recent trip last month, during the fall brawl, during the beginning of the fall brawl, my buddies and I were down out of Huron, Ohio. We were trolling mostly crankbaits and spros and reapers and some reef runners. But I was running a 4-inch shallow running bandit on 3 colors of lead. And that particular bait wound up taking at least 30% of our fish, maybe more. Mind you, we're running 8 or 10 rods, and only 2 of those rods were running lead core. So I was only running only 10% of our lines were we running this 4-inch bomber crankbait. And yet that bomber accounted for at least 30% of our fish, maybe more. By day 2, we were running 2 of those baits. So I think it was maybe even a little bit more productive on the second day. Guys, something else that I always keep in my trolling kit, I keep a spare reel calibrated with 10-pound test. It almost never fails that over a 3 or a 4-day weekend, you wind up somehow, some way tangling up a line, getting boogered up, and having to cut some line off of a reel. I'm a big fan of having my reels calibrated. So the minute I have to cut 30 or 40 feet off of a reel, it's no longer calibrated with the rest of my reels. So that's when I pull out my backup reel. It's already pre-calibrated, and I can take the reel that we had to cut line off of out of the spread until I have a chance to re-spool it and calibrate it. Hey guys, it's just a couple of real quick trolling tips for fall walleye. Now, summer trolling is a whole different program. I do a lot of summer trolling with spoons and or crawler harnesses, so my setups are very, very different. So my summer trolling program is a whole different program. But man, I love that fall trolling program. It can be so effective. There's a ton of fish swimming around Lake Erie in the fall, and they're easy to catch. They're willing to cooperate. They're putting on the feed. I just love that fall crank and bite. You don't have to break the bank to get into that fall crank and bite, and it's super productive. So guys, thanks for watching another episode of Team Jesus Outdoors. Fellas, make sure to go over and check out our other website, TJO Men's Ministries. Guys, whether you're brand new to the faith or you're not even sure if you believe in a God, or if you've been following Christ for a long time, I believe that we've got something over at that channel, TJO Men's Ministries, that you guys might be interested in seeing. I hope that you'll check that channel out. Guys, I hope that you'll keep Jesus Christ at the center of your Christmas this year. He is the reason for the season. Fellas, God bless. Tight lines. We'll see you guys on the water.